Hi everyone, Jackie Hay here of Hey Hey Creations. Welcome if you're new or welcome back. I wanted to share with you the blind box series that I just finished creating. This is based off of 8 characters that I've used time and time again in my business. Now the first thing I did was sculpt each character from polymer clay, and I have other videos showing how I do that. So if you're interested in learning how to sculpt, please check out one of my other videos. But here you can see I have all my figures hot glued into these little gift boxes that I have because I am going to make silicone molds of each character. So here you can see I have my original cat sculpture. And again, I'm just showing you that I use cheap gift boxes. You can make your own mold boxes if you want, but this way I can just glue them in and they're going to get cut apart at the end. So it's just an easy, cheap way to make a mold box. I think I got them at the dollar store, or you could get them on sale after a holiday for really, really cheap. So now you can see I have my gloves on, I have my mask on. You're going to need a scale that shows ounces. I use popsicle sticks, I use solo cups, and here is the product I'm using today. It's a 2-part silicone that I get on Amazon. I do recommend getting the 2-part silicone. It's just an even mix of A and B. Stir it together, make sure you have even amounts. I use 8 ounces of part A and 8 ounces of part B. I mix it thoroughly and then I do a long pour. So as you can see, I have a nice thin stream of silicone going into the gift box, and I am going to cover that whole sculpture with the silicone, and I'm going to let that cure until it is solid. If you are interested in learning more about mold making, I will link a couple of resources that I use. It did take me a few times to get this correct, and the materials are not exactly cheap. I believe the silicone was around $70, and then you're going to need resin, which is usually over $100 for the gallon. And I use Smoothcast 300, which is a very fast acting resin. But anyway, here you can see the silicone has cured. I believe I waited 24 hours. This type of silicone only needed 6, but I always wait a full 24 hours to make sure it's cured. And I will take an X-Acto knife and I will cut this out. So here you see I've removed the gift box, and now it is time to remove the clay figure. So I'm going to make a few cuts with my X-Acto knife so that I can free this figure. And I'm just showing you where I'm going to make my cuts. And it is very important that you do a zigzag line. If you do just a straight cut, the mold can warp much easier. By using that zigzag line, it will lock together much better. So, and as you're working, you want to pull that silicone apart so that you can see where you're making your cut. And I'm just going down the sides, trying to figure out where the widest parts are. I have that long tail for the cat, so I have to go down probably about halfway. Don't worry, the silicone will lock in place. I also use hot glue, and I use rubber bands to just ensure that none of that resin is going to leak out. But this is a nice thick mold, so the chances of it leaking are pretty low, and really you don't want it to leak. You don't want to waste that precious, precious resin. It is expensive. So anyway, here is the mold. I have removed the figure, but here are the cuts. So if this is something you want to try at home, definitely give it a try. It's really fun, and it's so fun to make your own characters and then have copies of them. This mold will probably last me for about 50 resin figures. And here I'm just showing you that Your figure probably will break in the process. It is kind of a rough process to pull that figure out, but you can just repair it. It's no big deal. Now, here are my resin copies of my 8 figures. As you can see, I have a fan that is, it's actually for nails, like a nail fan, but it keeps all that resin dust down. It is very important to wear gloves and wear a mask and have good ventilation as you're working. And I use epoxy sculpt to fill in any bubbles or holes that may happen. That is common when you're pouring resin, that if you don't have a place for the air to escape, it might make a little bubble here or there. So I am using a sanding block. I am using a Dremel tool with lots of attachments to clean up those copies. It's really important that you clean them up. So after cleaning up the molds, I just added some paint and I added the details, and here they are. They turned out so cute. I have them available in my Etsy shop. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And thank you so much for watching. One quick last thing, I did make stickers as well with those drawings. So really, really fun. Thanks, guys.